training and the overall ambience of the surrounding atmosphere, the culture is such an important thing. It will play a role into ultimately how people act, because once you act, you really amplify the things that you start thinking and the other things that you start doing. So here, Srila Prabhupada is emphasizing, yes, training. Then there won't be exploitation. And the next question.
Does it mean that some devotees will be known as Shudras?
I've really mentioned this with my example of big dog, small dog, German Shepherd, Chihuahua. I don't know if anyone really wants to identify themselves as a Brahmin. I prefer not to be considered as a sannyasi or a Brahmin. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Gopi Bharta Padakamalyo Dasa Dasa Anudasa. We want to be servants of Vaishnavas in this world, and we want to be servants of the Vaishnavas and the Vaishnavis in transcendental realm. So, and for devotees, there's no need for them to be known as Shudras or Kshatriyas or Brahmins, because their social identity is as Vaishnavas, although their work will vary according to their conditioning. Arjuna is a transcendentalist, but still Krishna is saying, if you don't fight, you'll be obliged to fight by your nature. You still have a nature, and your nature is that of a Kshatriya. And Sudama Vipra was a Brahmin. He would not go out, and he did not come to Krishna and ask for anything, even though Krishna was the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He was a Brahmin. He just accepted whatever came of its own accord. So, but he's a Vaishnava, and Arjuna is a transcendentalist, and there are so many other examples. But let's see what Bhagwat Gita says.
Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas and Shudras are distinguished by the qualities born of their own natures in accordance with the material modes, O chastiser of the enemy.
Modes of nature are working. Therefore, if devotees are engaged as Shudras, and Srila Prabhupada talks about it, then what's wrong with that? Yeah, so someone may be engaged in that way, because you're a great pot washer. And we need good pot washers, because unfortunately there are not many good pot washers. They tend to leave things black. And we need cleaners, and we need so many other things. Mandira Marjanado. Who's doing the Mandira Marjanado? But it's the Guru who is engaging his disciples in the work of a Shudra. Are they Shudras? No, they're Vaishnavas, but still Mandira Marjanado. That is, but no one thinks twice. And what does all devotees do when they first walk in the temple? Here's the broom, here's the mop, get on your hands and knees and start cleaning up. You immediately, but that doesn't mean that we've called someone a Shudra. But a little further.
In this connection, the Padma Purana states, Arche Vishnu Shilade Gurusu Nara Matir Vaishnave Jati Buddhi Yasya Va Naraki Saha. One who considers the Archamurti, the worshipful deity of Lord Vishnu, to be stone, the spiritual master to be an ordinary human being, and a Vaishnava to belong to a particular caste or creed is possessed of a hellish intelligence. So one who follows such conclusion is doomed.
Thank you. So, very clear, and Prabhupada quotes this a lot. You cannot identify Vaishnavas according to their nature. Why? Because they've already achieved the perfection of Varnasrama, is that they know Jivera Swarapoy Nitya Krishna Das. I'm Krishna's servant. And that is their primary identity. Whatever else they may be doing, fighting on a battlefield, doing a fire sacrifice, they may be trading and doing karmas or cleaning the floor, but they are Vaishnavas. But they do a certain type of work, that's all right. Why? Because we have to have a society. And people need to do swadharma. Everyone has to do their own specific type of work.
Without becoming a qualified Brahmana, one cannot become a pure devotee.
You have to be qualified. Be it a Brahmin, Shudra, Vaishya, etc. You have to perfect your own. Sve sve karmani abhirata samsiddhi labhyate para. Everyone in their work. And it's not just the Brahmins. who need to become qualified. Everyone needs to be qualified. And then,
So in the beginning, if we start a Varnashram college to teach internationally, students from all over the world to learn to be educated as Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, as Vaishyas, as Shudras, by quality and work, that will be the basic principle of Krishna consciousness.
doesn't need so much elaboration. Srila Prabhupada is listing everyone. Everyone needs to be trained. Everyone needs to be training. If I do the work of a Shudra, I do the work of a Vaishya, but so what? We all have the same Mahamantra. We all have the same Srimad Bhagavatam. We all have the rights to the same Diksha mantras. Hare Krishna. And then,
Satsvarup, if in our society we say, Srila Prabhupada wants someone to be Shudra, Prabhupada, no, I don't want. I want everyone to become Vaishnava. But because he's Shudra, it is not possible to bring him immediately to the platform of Brahman or Vaishnava, therefore falling down. Therefore system must be. But even if he remains a Shudra, he's a Vaishnava.
so you may say it, you may not say it, but what are we? Kalo Shudra Sambhavan. So we're less than Shudra. Therefore, Shudra means going up. And by cultivating the 21 qualities, then we become elevated. And by the activities, as I mentioned before, samskars, purification, study of Shastra, one's nature becomes clear. It's not something that, okay, well, tell me what I am. I don't know you. I don't know, how long have you been chanting Hare Krishna? But this is actually how Varna becomes very, very clear. And it's not the individual who determines their own Varna. Therefore, Srila Prabhupada would often say, yes, with Guru and Vaishnavas, by consultation with others, they will say, because they're not they're objective, whereas we are not necessarily so objective. Now,
how do we preach Varnashram to non-devotees?
and we're at 30 minutes, and I need to sort of close off to Gitanagari as well as to Vaishnavas here in Tirupati.
Prabhupada, we are preaching, therefore we must pave the situation in such a way that gradually they will be promoted to the spiritual plane, which is not required. Satsvarup, Varnashram is not required, Prabhupada, not required. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu denied, I am not Brahmana, I am not Kshatriya, I am not this, I am not this. He rejected. But in the Bhagavad Gita, the Chatuvana Mayasrastam, so we are Krishna preaching Krishna consciousness, it must be done. Harishori. But in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's practical preaching, he only induced them to chant. Prabhupada, that is not possible for ordinary man.
So yes, we need to introduce Varnashram, but before we start talking to the world, we need to talk to ourselves. We need to agree amongst ourselves. We need to structure our society. We're working on a constitution. We have so many rules within ISKCON. We need to have a very clear social structure upon which the International Society for Krishna Consciousness is based upon and works, because it's supposed to be the same everywhere. Perhaps there'll be adjustment according to different time and place.
That is another thing. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Para Upaka, why a certain section should be picked up. The whole mass of people will get the benefit of it. Then it is required, systematic. Svei svei kamani abhirata, sangsiddhim labate nara. Para Upaka means mass benefit, not that there is certain section. Then we have to introduce this Varnashram Dharma. Must be done perfectly, and it is possible, and people will be happy.
Prabhupada wanted it. It's part of our preaching. We're not just chanting Hare Krishna, chant Hare Krishna and live any old way that you like. No, we want to gradually elevate people, and people are in different strata of society. They're in different strata of life, different modes, combination of modes. In this conversation, Prabhupada said, talking about the devotees who have come to Krishna consciousness, so we have picked up the best amongst them, because ultimately, whatever our background, we're here, and others aren't. Whether they'll come immediately, it doesn't matter, but at least we need to pave the way. We need to give the format that this is the social structure which actually will help elevate people. Every other social structure degrades society or allows them to become degraded.
Prabhupada, yes. For the big scale, this is the required. In big scale, you cannot make all of them as brahmanas or sannyasi. No, that is not possible. This is a small scale. How many percentage of people of the world we are controlling? Very insignificant. But if you want to make the whole human society perfect, then this Krishna consciousness movement should be introduced according to the Krishna's instruction. If you want to do it in a large scale for the benefit of the whole human society, now we are picking up some of them best. Harishori. So at least if we successfully introduce the Varnashram system in our own society, then when all the demons finish themselves, Prabhupada, at least they will see this is the ideal. Harishori, yes. Then if there is a war or after that, it will be all right. Prabhupada, at least the ideal must be there. That we are doing.
So, preaching, we're telling people, but what can we tell people unless we do it? So Srila Prabhupada said, at least the ideal. We're small scale, very little. Good thing, then it's easier. We need to see how do we implement Varnashram in our own lives. How do we implement these 21 qualities? How do we actually purify our existence? And when we have actually an international society for Krishna consciousness based on those principles that Srila Prabhupada is emphasizing, when we have Varnashram colleges, then from there we can start telling the world, okay, now this is what you should do because this is what we're doing. We do that with chanting. We can tell them, you don't need to eat meat. This is how you eat. We are expert. We show everybody how to live perfectly a healthy life because we know about prasadam and we know about vegetarian cooking. But when it comes to how should the world be governed, how should a country be governed, we don't have an example. We're not doing it. Srila Prabhupada says, at least the ideal must be there. And this is, I think, the last question.
Isn't Varnashram about farms?
No. Varnashram is about the world. If we think about where Varnashram was practiced, it was practiced all over the world. The world was in a majority an agrarian society, but there was also industry, there was commerce, there was trade, there was education, there were so many other things. There were kings, there were cities.
On these farms we can demonstrate the full Varnashram system. If these farms become successful, then the whole world will be enveloped by Krishna consciousness.
But farms are the easiest place. And why are farms easy? For instance, in Hungary, we have our Krishna Valley farm, New Brajadam farm. It's easy because you have a very controlled atmosphere. Your neighbor is a devotee, and that neighbor is a devotee, and that neighbor is a devotee, and the school is a gurukula, and you have your own goshala, and you eat the food that you grow, everything. Everything is, you have society which is already controlled. And you call him a temple president, but Prabhupada even said, well, a temple president is like the king in his temple. So, and you've got a controller, and you've got someone who's guiding, and hopefully he's properly trained, so he guides in the right way. So it's very easy. And the material world is far away. For instance, in Hungary, Budapest is like 180 kilometers away. It's very far away. And the village next door, they live a very simple life, but they're quite isolated. They're also 2 kilometers away, and we're in the middle of a 700-acre farm. So farm is best, but it's not the only place, because devotees are living everywhere else, and that's also not the history.
But he first of all tested what kind of people in generally there are in the Ayodhya. So when he understood that all the citizens, they are strictly following the Varnashram Dharma, then he agreed to accept the throne.
Ayodhya was not a farm. Ayodhya was a city. And in Bhagwat Gita, Brihad Bhagavatamrita, we find this.
Smiling, Uddhava told him, what can I say? How can someone like me stop thinking himself a Chatra when even our Lord does not?
This is not being spoken in the world. This is being spoken in Vaikuntha. Here, Narada Muni, Uddhava are together with Gop Kumar. Narada Muni tells Uddhava, he doesn't feel comfortable here in Vaikuntha. You tell him about Vrindavan. Uddhava says, no, I'm a Kshatriya. I can't start talking before you. You're a Brahmin. And Narada Muni says, what are you talking about? We're in Vaikuntha. He says, there's no Varnashram here. Uddhava answers this. He says, of course there's Varnashram. Varnashram is also here. In the spiritual world, is there no social structure? There's also social structure. And he says, even the Lord can't stop thinking of himself as a Kshatriya. So, Varnashram, as mentioned earlier, is an eternal spiritual principle. And the spiritual, what are the Brijbasis? They're Vaishyas. And you have Kshatriyas, you have Kamsa, is the Kshatriya, and you have, of course, in Dwarka, you have Pandavas and so on, and Krishna, or at least Vasudeva Krishna is in the role of a Kshatriya over there. Varnashram exists also in the spiritual world. It's not a temporary arrangement. It's not a place just for farms. It's everywhere. But for us, it's best implemented in farms.
In the cities we are interested for preaching, but we cannot present the ideal Varnashram system. This is only possible at the farms, so they are very important.
Farms are the best place, and Srila Prabhupada therefore emphasized. I have personal experience in Budapest and farm. The concept of just accepting Varnashram is so much more difficult. And of course, in our farming communities, the way Srila Prabhupada planned, it wasn't that someone's working at pumping gas at a gas station. It's not someone else is running a real estate business, or someone is working in a company for some karmi. They're devotees working together. It becomes very easy to enforce each other, and no one thinks, oh, he's a Shudra, they're worshipping the deity, they're the Brahmin, and he's the Vaishya with it doesn't cross anyone's mind. Everyone is Vaishnav, Vaishnavi, everyone is Prabhu. So these are, and now I really ran over time. I don't know what Maharaj wants to do with these, but it's as quickly as I could go through them. These are some questions, and there are a lot more. Once again, here it is. If you want to get the book, it's available. We'll ship it out to individual devotees. My regards, and I'll say goodbye to devotees in Gita Nagari. Thank you all very much for at least allowing me to come in this way. I'm really sorry I'm not able to be with you, spend time. I look forward to discussions. No doubt I would have been very enlightened by what I heard, what I would hear pro and con. Next time, I'm hoping that sometime in the future I'll come. Usually I get to go as far as Toronto to visit family once a year, and from there Gita Nagari was really quite nearby. So I wish, I'm sure you'll have a very wonderful seminar. Thank you all very much, and the devotees here in Tirupati offer their greetings to everyone. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Shri Radha Damodar ki jai. Yes, I miss seeing Radha Damodar. And Shri Radha Govinda ki jai. And of course, Balaji ki jai. Jai Nitai Gaur Premanandi Hari 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 Bo.